Hi everybody, Gary Williams here again, reaching out to friends and colleagues all across the spectrum of the arts to see how all of us are coping with this crazy, unprecedented coronavirus situation. And the fellow waiting patiently for me there, looking very handsome in his spectacles, is the great Allan Stewart. Hi Alan, how you doing?
I'm doing great.
Oh, that is good news, because not everybody's doing great.
Well, I'm not letting this get to me. I really am not. And I was watching your Brian Connolly one yesterday, and a couple of interesting things came up. And one of them is that you said it, more so than Brian, because Brian doesn't do as many ships. But the thing is, we are kind of used to it, you know. And I have been, to all intents and purposes, self-isolating for the last 50 years. You know, I
would just come out once a week. Once a week.
I've been going around the country since I was a kid, to the age of 21, 22, going round to the Golden Garter or to the Caesar's Palace Luton or King's Club. And I'd go for a week, I'd get into the hotel, I'd unpack, and then I'd wander around for a week, just working at night, looking at Dixon's manager's special. That was the highlight of the day. What's the manager's special in Dixon's? Oh, a tape recorder for $4.99.
Spending all of your CD money on all of this crap. So, but it's true that, I mean, actually, for a lot of people, they are not used to that lifestyle at all. So for a lot of people, even just so far, like a week or whatever in lockdown is going to present a lot of mental health challenges. I mean, imagine after a few months, or however long it tends to be, it's going to be difficult, isn't it?
Well, I think that the strange thing is I am actually reasonably enjoying the whole situation. Now, we are only officially a week and a half. I call it 2.5 weeks of being in kind of a lockdown, because my son got it right at the beginning and we kind of started self-isolating right away.
Got it?
Yes, he got it and got over it very quickly. Oh, listen, we've not had him tested, but he had every sign of it: the throat, the temperature, the no taste, no smell, all that sort of stuff.
So you guys got it also, or not?
No, we didn't get it. No, I was in Scotland. I just finished doing the big show up there. He had been up at the weekend with my daughter as well, and the two of them stayed in the same room. And then they came down, and then David phoned us as we were at the airport and said, "I've got it. It really feels I've got it." And he's a bit of a hypochondriac, so we didn't believe him, but he definitely did have it. So the funny thing is, Kate didn't get it. His girlfriend, if she did get it, was very, very light. And we, as soon as we come home, he just stayed in his room for a week. We kept everything completely hygienic, and we fed the food under the door. You know, all he had was toast, because that was all we could get under the door. You know, but
thin slice.
Yes, thin slice.
I mean, you guys have been extremely lucky then, because it isn't just older people, right? It's affecting younger people on occasion as well. I mean, sort of any age. Nobody's immune to this thing, right?
Nobody's immune to it. We have been incredibly careful. My wife is fantastic. She watches it, because I'm in the dangerous age zone with diabetes as well. Doesn't help. So you
never know, Alan.
I'll leave that open for you to go get away.
But I mean, when you say that your wife is being super careful, I mean, are you guys? I think it was maybe Brian mentioned, or somebody was telling me, you know, that they are being super vigilant about, if they've been to the shops, that they're washing all of the tins and all of the packaging down in hot water, even the fruit down in hot water. If they've been out to the shops, they're putting their clothes in the washing machine. It sounds over the top, but it's not. I mean, is that what you're doing in your house?
Not quite as bad as that, but literally David came back with it. He just did a massive shop there, and he came back with stuff, and the two of us just wiped everything down with sanitized cloths and things like that before we put it in the fridge. So we're doing that. Jane is a business. She's got her own business, which is a very successful corporate hospitality. So she's not the one that does the hoovering and the dusting and all that sort of thing. We've got a lovely lady that does that, and she's not been in, so we're all doing it.
Yeah. Do you know how? Did you have to have a little some instructions?
Well, it was difficult getting the hoover out, and the funny thing was watching Jane trying to put the ironing board up. That was work. I wish I'd had that on. And then trying to get it back down again. It's a bit like the deck chair thing, you know.
So for somebody that is, you know, is used to this sort of lifestyle, I mean, seriously, have you got some advice on how you are able to structure your days in a way that you don't feel like every day is just a wasted day? For people that aren't used to this, I mean, how do you stay sane in a situation like this?
If you told me, well, listen, 4 weeks ago, uh, four of us went out to see the musical and Juliet, and then we went to the Ivy. We had a fabulous dinner. We had friends there. We had a great time. And here I am 4 weeks later. I've got the recipe for a chocolate cake from my sister, and that's what I'll be doing later on this afternoon. So that's how life has changed so drastically. But the main thing, and I didn't think I would have been able to handle a lockdown. And then I started to think, well, yeah, I have lockdown every week on the ship. I do it. You know yourself. Sometimes you don't talk to somebody for 4 days.
It's true. Really?
You have little conversation. Hi, how you doing? Nice to see you. And I'm one. You've probably seen me on the ship. I'm a past master of getting in, chatting, get a laugh, and get out. I don't hang around there. I don't hang around for 20 minutes.
You've made a career out of it.
Yes, in, out, get a laugh, go. So what we've done and what's working for us is a routine. I've always got to have my paper, read my Daily Mail. Sorry, read the Daily Mail. You've just switched off.
We had 4 people watching this. They've all gone. Or maybe not. Maybe it's doubled.
I get my ciabatta with one with Marmite on it, the other one with raspberry jam.
This is very valuable information. I hope you're writing this down.
And then I finish my paper, then I go for a walk. So it was an hour's walk. Now it's an hour and 25, an hour 30 walk every day because I'm very lucky. In London here, I live on a communal garden, 3 acres of communal garden. So we've got our own garden, which leads on to...
That's amazing. So even if there were to be restrictions on how much you can walk, you've got your own garden. So you can do it as much as you want.
It's
a big space.
We've been here for 30 years, and that every time we say we're going to move, we can't move off the garden. It's the greatest thing. It's a community, but it's not even busy. There's like 8 people in it as I walk around, and they put little rules up. Somebody put a 2-meter rule, a great big ruler on the fence, and said, "This is what 2 meters is. Stay that way and just walk clockwise." It's a bit like you walk around a ship, you know.
Yeah.
So I do that. Jane's got her routine. The kids are now doing all the stuff online with the Keep Fit because they do gyms. So they've got their own mats and they're doing yoga and they're doing Pilates and they're doing all their stuff. And the main thing is wake up in the morning and Jane and I look at each other and say, "What are we having for dinner tonight?"
That's the same thing. It's like being on a ship. It really is.
Dinner is the most important thing.
Yeah, I do. I wake up in the morning and I think, oh, what am I going to do for dinner tonight? I literally do. That's so funny.
So we're all around the country. We're all doing this cooking thing. We're all doing this. What are we going to do? And that again is something that maybe once a week we would do it with everybody together. But now we're doing it every night. And fortunately, there's been no bickering. The wind-ups are still going on, and Kate and David are winding us up because we're 2 old fogies. Well, I am. Jane isn't. And with that's what's keeping me going.
I mean, you're lucky because you have a really wonderful family there. And so for you to be able to spend so much time together, I think for those people that have not been badly affected by anybody getting ill in their family from this, for those people that can get through it without being very badly personally affected, I think many of us are going to look back on this time as a real golden time as far as spending time with our family, spending time with kids and so on.
Well, I think I have to say, in all honesty, we are only a week and a half or 2 weeks into it at the moment. We don't know what I'm going to be like 4 weeks in.
I'll check in.
It might be a whole different...
Your hair will be all over them, your glasses will be...
No, the hair will be all right.
I'm sure that'll be perfect.
It might be a lot longer. Might have the Michael Douglas look, woof, back like that, you know. Sorry, no offense. But the thing is... I don't know what it's going to be like, but at the moment, I'm doing fine. And I don't want to sound like, I'm doing fine, because I do know if you're on your own. I just talked 10 minutes ago to Paul Zerden, who said, I am a social person. He said, I don't eat in the house. I eat out every day. I go to coffee shops. I go to bars. He said, I meet people. I have lunch. And we are very social, Paul Zerden and myself. And we see each other. But he said, I can't handle this.
Mm. He's got
Come
his
on,
topics.
all he's got is his dummies.
Yeah.
Go on, son, turn me around.
It's
Turn
tough.
me around,
It's tough.
son.
So are you one of the, I mean, because I know a lot of us who work on ships, particularly in the UK, this is a time of year that January, February, March, I don't work a lot because I don't like to fly all over the place. So but I was just starting to work. The season was just starting to happen for me. So I have lost work so far, and I know I'm going to lose, over the next few months. Obviously, things aren't going to be happening for a while. What about you? I mean, have you lost stuff already in the diary or not?
I'm exactly the same as you. I don't do long haul, so at this time of the year I don't really work that much. So my plan always is a finished panto, which is
a big thing for you.
Big thing for me. It's the mainstay of my year. As long as I've got that, that's basically I can pick and choose anything else. I'm very lucky, touch wood. There was talk, people were saying, are we going to lose panto? And I say, well, it's 9 months away. We really can't think about that. And I'm not going to think about it. So I have this time, then I do the big show in March or end of February, March, which is a lot of preparation, a lot of work. That's a week in Edinburgh at the Kings.
Which you've just done.
Yeah, which is just, I got it in by the skin of my teeth. I finished on the Saturday, they closed the theatre on the Monday. Wow. So talk about being lucky, really lucky. So that happened. And then I would normally I would have gone to LA. I go out to my pal Ross King's place out there in LA and I spend a couple of weeks. And then I come back and I get myself ready for doing some ships. And they've gone. So the May, June, and the end of May at the moment, cancelled up to the end of May. But listen, I'm not sure whether I want to go on for quite a while. I think I want this to be 100% clear, because there's a friend who, I won't say the name because they've got a kind of a social media ban on talking about it. But he's been on the ship now and he doesn't get off till the 12th of April. He's been on the ship for 4 weeks, floating around, waiting to get into one of the islands to stock up. And of that 4 weeks that he's been on, 10 days of it, he was confined to his cabin because somebody had coughed in his corridor.
Right, and that confinement is confined to the cabin. It's not like allowed out once a day for a walk around. That's it.
In the cabin, just there on your own.
Yeah, that we can be grateful. I was doing some shows in London just before I came out. I live in Tenerife. Just before I finished those shows, I came back home here. Just like a couple of days later, they started cancelling the flights, and I felt very lucky to be here with Philip. And I mean, I've got a nice view. It's a nice, the weather's nice. But I mean, even just today, we're looking after our father-in-law's dog, and I was walking the dog, and I usually take this nice circuit around. I can see the sea, it's pretty. The police were out, they stopped me, they told me I can only walk the dog for 5 minutes. I'm not even allowed to go more than a block or two away from my own home. They're strict. Yeah, it's pretty hardcore. So for you to have that garden, and to have the freedom that offers,
really is a godsend.
It's amazing.
And as the weather gets better, that will become even more important to us. But again, so I count myself as one of the real lucky ones. One, I've got the family. We are a family that gets on well with each other, so that's good. And we've got the garden. Yeah. And I'm going to have chocolate cake by the end of the day.
And you are, I mean, in normal times, you're great at putting very funny stuff out and producing funny stuff that you put out on social media. Are you doing more of that now or less?
Well, I've done two things. Well, I've always wanted to learn how to edit, and I got into it with Final Cut on MacBook about 2-3 years ago, and then they changed it and brought a new one out, and I was starting from scratch again. So that was the end of that. Yeah. I gave up. So I've been working on iMovie, and I'm coming to grips with it a little bit. But also what I've done is I've taken all the big shows we've done over the last 6 years. I've made up a little 5-6 minute video of bits from the show. Nice. And I put it out. I'm going to put it out as a thank you to the Kings for 22 years of working at that theatre. I also, there's a comedy group that we have on the show called the McRoberts Brothers. So I've put them together and edited them together. So that's something I've always wanted to do. So I've got my head down in doing that. But there was a point I was going to make and I've forgotten what it was. You were saying.
Well, I was wondering if people want to reach out to you and connect with you and basically see what you do. Yeah.
Well, actually, this is interesting because one thing I've always really admired about you is that when you are working you're out there all the time. You're putting great little videos out. I don't know who does your videos for you, but they're really top class.
Alex
And
Bourne, do you know him?
pardon?
Alex Bourne, good old friend of mine who were in the
Oh, yeah.
you know Alex? Anyway, I'll give you details.
Joe Gibbs.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Oh, I didn't know he did that.
Yeah, he's very good. And I think he might have a little bit of spare time at the moment. So if
Yes. We could do it 2 meters, 2 meters apart. But the thing is, so you put these great videos out and they're always very classy, very stylish. You're always doing another album, so you're thinking about that. And I think that is the main thing. Especially when I'm putting the big show together, all I do is think about that. All I do is think about Panto putting ideas together. But the one thing I want you to tell me is that what really pisses me off is I can put a lot of work into something. I can put it on Facebook. One of them will get 1.7K views. The other one will get 230. And I go, but look, there's some guy saying, and he's getting 14 million. You know, if you Google how to change the clock on an F oven, they've got 1.6 million views. I put all this work into a funny video and I get 230.
well, I was going to ask you.
It'd be better showing you how to change an F clock and do some gags while I'm doing it. That's the only way I'm going to get anybody to watch them.
If I got 230 views on anything I did, I would be over the moon. What pisses me off is that I'll spend a fortune going into a studio with the band. Alex will film it, or it's beautifully produced. Maybe it's an original song, beautiful. It gets maybe like 47 likes. I put a picture of our hedgehog Spike on the same page. It goes through the roof. I should just retire and just take pictures of our hedgehog.
Well, no, why don't you sing while taking pictures of your hedgehog?
I have done that before, and it was a very good idea.
I'm going to go down the Neff oven line. You should go down the Spike line.
I know. I'm pretty certain that the next album I do is just going to have a picture of Spike on the cover. It's just, you know, maybe I should do a duet with Spike.
You see, obviously, none of us care what many views anybody else gets. We want to look at our own. But I look at yours and think, well, maybe I don't look at the views. I just think, well, it's really good. That's bound to get a lot of views. So you're in the same boat then.
Oh man, yes. I mean, how many views do you think this is going to get?
Well, I don't even think Jane will watch it. So I was. Hillary will watch it.
Hillary will be watching it. But yeah, we'll find a few people to watch it. But if I can't. I've just cleaned Spike's house out. You know, he's been poorly. He had an operation yesterday.
I saw that in his eye. Yeah, I know everything you're doing. I know everything you're doing.
Yeah. I would have introduced you to Spike now, and then the figures would have gone through the roof. But alas, it's just us. Alan, it is always amazing to talk to you.
I've Googled the situation.
What's that?
And I've Googled how do you get the Facebook viewings up, and none of them have come up with anything significant. There's a book, Facebook for Dummies, that doesn't tell you really. But how can somebody get 14 million for something? You know, there are some clever ones out there. But
what you need to do is ask the guy that couldn't do the timer on the oven for some advice. Let him write your next panto.
Do the timer on the oven. He was the only one that could do it.
Alan, we've got to wind it up. It's always so great to talk to you. I wish we were meeting for dinner in the Ivy ourselves next week. But I
tell you what, we said that maybe we should come back for just a quick one in 4 weeks' time if we're all still locked down, and see if I'm still of the same mind and see what length my hair is. I can't say the same for you, because other than your beard, I've noticed your head's on the wrong way around, by the way. Yeah. But other than your beard getting longer and longer,
actually, one of the great things that still makes me laugh. Do you remember when I was doing the Cabaret Secrets podcast, and we did a little chat? We were on deck on a ship one day, and we did a little chat. It was your tips on how to get a standing ovation after a show. Do you remember this?
Yes.
It was so funny. If anybody, I'm going to put a link underneath this video to that little bit, because it was very, very funny. Yeah, I have fond memories.
Very quickly, I have to say, this standing ovation thing from the acts really gets me down. You know, and they get other people to say, oh, I saw so and so last night. He was fantastic. The whole place stood up. Just go away. Stop it. We all know the tricks. We've all seen it.
If you want to know the tricks on how to get a standing ovation,
I don't do them, by the way. I don't use the tricks.
I use them all. I didn't know them until you told me.
Yeah, no, you know how to graph an act. I always say, if you want to see a male singer, go and see Gary Williams. He knows how to put an act together.
Oh,
You're the man.
That's high praise coming from you. Allan, I love you. Thank you so much for taking the time today. Love to your family and stay safe.
See you.